I've done a lot of cocaine. That last caller should definitely just test all of his cocaine from here on out. You're pretty
Okay.
much rolling the dice.
Yeah.
If
I
you're in
mean,
a big
now it's
city,
crazy to just roll the dice. Like,
yeah, like I lived in Ensenada in Mexico for like a year, and we didn't test back then, but I know
you
too
sorry, you
now,
did test
and
back then, or you didn't?
didn't.
Didn't.
And
Okay.
yeah, I moved from the West Coast in 2015 or 16, and that's when I started testing out here on the East Coast.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably wise, just in terms of, yeah, I don't know. It's not worth dying over.
Yeah, I throw away like one every like 5 or 6 packages.
Really? Right? Even like you're saying right now that you still test for fentanyl that regularly?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's not like obviously off the fucking block, like I'm not messing with it. Like I've
Yeah.
seen shit from from the fucking brick, and it's like yeah, it's very easy to tell. And then once you test it, it's just you test it like 3 times, separate places, and shake it
Yeah.
up and shit. If
That's
you
wild.
want to do coke, that's what you have to do.
That's
So,
crazy,
so,
man.
so where do you get the testing kits from up in Canada? You can just go to some place and they give them for free, or you have to buy them, or where do you get them?
I think he's in the US, but you can
I'm in
buy
this.
them on
I,
Amazon, I think.
I'm in the states, but yeah, you just buy them on Amazon. You can also there's also like I do a lot of like music events and stuff, so I have a lot just from like there's groups like what's it called? I can't remember what the names are, but there's a bunch of groups for like raves and like music
Yeah,
festivals
they'll have
that
Yeah,
tables
will
like I'll go
give
to
out
like
shit.
yeah, I'll go to like some concerts and they'll have a table set up just to
like Safe Dance or something. Yeah. So like, and when you test it, how often are you finding like? I mean, like you test positive for fentanyl specifically, or you just test it and it kind of gives you a breakdown of what's in it, how much, how pure the cocaine is, or what?
I'm testing with literal fentanyl strips, so it's
Okay.
really only looking for that. And then I used to have a lot of cocaine around me, so I know what just eyeing it and tasting it, I can tell a lot of what's going on.
And and how often now, if you're testing it now, how often will you find fentanyl showing up?
I would say with like the current dude and like with like everything, I would say like 1 in like 10 nowadays, but like that's probably less
it's a lot.
nowadays.
And like do you go to the
But when
person you got it from and you're like, "Hey man, you're like you might be killing people?"
yeah, I let them know. Yeah, I let them know.
And what do they generally say? Cuz there was a this in New York City there was this these two guys who were cuz there's all these like coke drug delivery services in New York City cuz the whole thing is everything's just like so easy or whatever to get and but these guys were knowingly selling fentanyl. I guess they figured out like people were getting and then they just like kind of kept selling it and yeah, you're like it's just crazy to know like people they were texting people being like, hey, just like don't do a lot of this. It's really strong, and then like it killed like I don't know 8 people or something crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So like 1 in 10 is still, that's a pretty high amount. I mean,
That's
one in ten.
high.
I mean, like
Yeah,
it is.
no, that is very high.
So, but yeah,
But I would say we're buying like people are buying though, like like because I get my buddy like he'll tell me like, hey, can't buy right now. I can't find anything clean because he'll just test it with the person he's buying from.
Right.
So like I mean he'll roll up to the and test the kilo, chopping off like 8 different pieces and test it like 8 times. That's what people are doing nowadays just to avoid it. Because when I first moved out here, there was like I knew a lot of people pretty quickly, but like there was people started dropping like flies. It was bad, and no one wants that to happen.
it's absolutely
People are just
nuts.
trying to have fun.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nuts how it's happening, isn't it? It's like, I mean, like one guy told me. I mean, this is law enforcement, but his idea was they're doing it simply to pad it out. They're making one. They get half a kilo and it becomes 3 kilos because
Yeah.
fentanyl is so potent. You mix it up and then they put some other
It's such
shit
a
in as well.
different drug though. You're literally talking
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
Yeah,
downer
well,
versus
and it's fucked up people that are doing that. Like somewhere here by my house, and where like I live in a pretty big city, and some dude got caught with it was like 7 pounds of like heroin, but then like 20 pounds of fentanyl,
mm.
yeah, and it makes sense that
and
you would
then like
mix it in with heroin to make heroin stronger because Like, I don't think a heroin
that's
addict,
and then
like if a heroin addict got a grain of fentanyl, they wouldn't die because they're already on opioids.
yeah, but I think people are just like, fuck it, dude, money, money, money. You know, they're just
Yeah.
thirsty.
That's
Like
Yeah.
I sold drugs in college, and like I was a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Like I was not a good person,
yeah.
and I regret that shit. But
Yeah.
it's what it fucking is.